Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I am Joshua.
Damn it.
This is our Talks Comics about the Harvey nominations for 2016.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so we're going to talk about this Harvey stuff. It came out about a week ago, I think.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Eisner Awards, so let's talk about the Harvey Awards.
Here we go.
So here we go. So let's start out. We'll talk about the Best New Series.
We got a couple of these. We got 4 of them on our poll, actually. We have Archie, Bloodshot Reborn, Paper Girls, and The Vision. So the one that we don't have is Giant Days.
Right, which we've had recommended to us, and we've also talked about picking up in trade and reading it later.
What do you think out of this list?
Archie's good. Vision's really good. Bloodshot's been up and down. There's been some really cool stuff, like the annual.
Right. I think the annual was really the high point. I mean, we get strong issues here and there, but it's been kind of meh overall. The annual didn't really wow me though. So again, we have Paper Girls on here, which I don't get why people want a Brian K. Vaughan title on their nominees so bad. It was fine up until now. It's only recently started getting good. So I'm not sure why these fucking awards. What did you see in it that we didn't see in it?
I think people do what I did with the first couple issues, where they read it and they say, well, it's Brian K. Vaughan, so this is better than I think it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? It must be me.
Yeah, I must be missing something. I'm going to nominate it for the Best New Series. Make sure I don't look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now that we're at 7 and we're starting to see the fruition, maybe that's true. But I don't think the early issues probably stand up for Best New Series.
No, if you pick 5 issues out of that and 5 issues out of Vision, Vision is gonna fucking crush it in every single way.
Right, it's so much better in every category.
Right.
Yeah, except maybe paper quality.
You're right.
Right.
So there's not much you can do about that.
Yes. Yeah. But if you took Paper Girls 1 through 7 and read it all at once we and then read all 7 of Vision, I can see how it would be at least a closer race.
No.
But it's still not nearly as good. But maybe a year from now, Paper Girls might deserve Best New Series. But
and this is coming. I mean, we both enjoy the series.
Yeah, we've been reading it, and we continue to have it on the poll list.
Yeah, we've read literally every issue of it.
Right.
So I mean, well, what are you gonna do?
Right.
They're both fucking better than Bloodshots. So.
They are. And Archie, we love Archie, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I really like Archie. It's one of my favorite things that I read every month.
I'm glad to see it nominated. It didn't get an Eisner nod, which I felt that it should have.
I agree. It definitely should have. I think it's one of the cooler things to come out this year. It's fresh and different. Its comedy is constantly on point. The character drama is a lot of fun. It's light. It's so different.
It's never had anything less than a dream team of creators on it.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so next let's talk about most promising new talent.
The only one that I really recognize is Tom King.
Right.
And I noticed they only put him down for The Vision, but Sheriff Babylon's really good too, and we've heard great things about Omega Men.
Right.
So
I've read some of Omega Men. It's really good. Grayson has been good. So he's been doing a lot of cool stuff.
Sure.
Raw Allen, Wrath of the Eternal Warrior. I've heard some good stuff about that, but I've heard good stuff about all the Valiant stuff, and we've yet to be wowed.
Sure.
Right? And the same thing with Robert Gill, Book of Death. Same kind of thing.
Another Valiant.
Dan Mora with Klaus. That's that Grant Morrison Santa Claus thing, right? Yeah. And Lisa Tremaine, Giant Days again. Again, we just aren't on it yet. Let's talk about this next category, Special Award for Humor in Comics.
Okay.
All right, we got James Asmus for Quantum and Woody Must Die from Valiant. We have Elliot Kalan, Unity number 25 for Valiant. Michael Kupner, Unity number 25 for Valiant. It's the same issue.
Yeah.
They probably Could have
wrote it, yeah.
put them together. Valiant, Fred Lent, Valiant, and then Chip Zdarsky for Howard the Duck and Marvel.
Yeah, they must really have something against Nick Spencer.
Right?
I think he must have just pissed off like the nominating committee for like both of these fucking things.
Yeah.
Because he's a really funny dude and he didn't get nominated by anybody.
Right, and the circles I am in, like in the internet world, like Nick Spencer's like the go-to comedy guy.
Yeah.
He just got nothing. So this is the first category where we start to see this odd thing this year, right? The Valiant just running away with all these Harvey Awards. So they got nominated four of the five. They even nominated the same issue twice. Right?
Yeah. That's weird. I mean, even when I've tried to go into Valiant's more like humorous titles, I didn't think they were that funny. I mean,
me neither.
Certainly got nothing on Nick Spencer, which again didn't get nominated for a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Or Scotty Young for I Hate Fairyland, just again didn't get nominated for a goddamn thing.
Right. So look, like, we can keep doing this list here. Let me scroll down. See, look.
Yeah, I want to do this special award for excellence in presentation.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this one. Special award for excellence in presentation. We got Bloodshot Reborn.
Book of Death.
Right.
By Valiant. Divinity by Valiant. Ninjak, which is on Valiant. Peanuts, which is on Boom. And then The Valiant, which...
Surprise.
You can guess what that one's on.
It's on Valiant. This one almost feels like they just created a category to put a bunch of, like, let's give Valiant another award.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because it doesn't even
They're not nominated enough.
It doesn't even sound like a real category. Just like best Valiant book. Like, coolest book with Valiant on it. Like,
what does excellence in presentation even mean? Is that...
I don't know. Like, I can see maybe...
Because they have, like, the cardstock covers?
Yeah, like the nice covers and the decent... paper, but then what about Paper Girls? Like, why wouldn't it be on there? Because it has probably the nicest paper in all of comics right now.
Sure.
I don't even know what the fuck it's supposed to mean. They need, like, a description. But, again, we're getting into this fucking thing. Really what we want to talk about, right, is what the fuck is with all the Valiant?
Yeah.
Like,
it's okay. I mean, it's not okay that every Valiant title gets nominated for, like, 17 fucking things on this, but, like, Valiant as a whole is like okay.
Yeah. Everything I've read of Valiant has been okay. Just okay. Like, aside from that Bloodshot annual and maybe one or two issues specifically of Bloodshot that we've read, it's all been okay. So what it makes me wonder is, who are the people on the Harvey nominating committee? That's what I'm really curious about, because I've seen some, like, scuttlebutt about, like, oh, is it some sort of Valiant conspiracy, which is ridiculous. It's not a Valiant conspiracy. That's just not a thing that's happening here. Do you want to speculate on what's happening here? I want to speculate.
Okay.
I mean, we're a YouTube channel, right? We're supposed to speculate on things.
Sure, and just give our opinions, even though
everybody asks. Our opinion of what's happening in a thing that we really have no insider information on.
Right. So what's your speculation?
Okay, my speculation is Harvey people, like the people that they get to do Harvey Awards, are like long-time comic book veteran people. Basically, people that kind of have their head shoved up like the superhero ass, if you know what I mean. You know, Jeff Johnsian kind of guys. Like, guys who are, like, important in the industry but are really, like, super focused on a specific sort of thing, right? Like a continuity-heavy A to B to C kind of storytelling with people with superpowers. Yeah,
that kind of goes along with my theory of, like, just people that have been snubbed by the Eisners. Like, again, we have the DC power trio of Johns, Lee, and Didio, who have collectively do not have one between them. Like, Johns has been, like, nominated for one, and he puts it on his fucking resume.
Nominee.
Right. Yeah. He didn't win shit, you know, and then you guys have, like, Brubaker, who's been writing for like half as long and has like fucking 10 of them.
Right.
You know, so it's just all those guys being like, well, fuck it. You know, you can take your comics that mean something and we're just going to have our capes over here.
Right,
You know, so
right.
They took the ball and they went home and then they created basketball or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. And so, like, to a certain demographic, I feel like Valiant is probably really important to them. Because it's doing the Marvel and DC thing and making it like halfway more average and in other ways more interesting. Like it's this weird mixture where we sort of distill characters down into really boring, cliche versions of things we've already seen, but then write slightly better stories in general, continuity-wise, right? Like the events are better. The way they interact is more natural, but the characters are kind of bland. I mean, Bloodshot, let's be frank, he's like, you know, ripped like a shitty Punisher. You know what I mean? And Exo Manowar is kind of like low-rent Iron Man. Like, so Ninjak is kind of like British boring Batman. Like, they're all just kind of shitty versions of Marvel and DC characters that were just kind of leftovers. Like it feels like picking up the scraps and making like a really nice like leftover dinner.
Sure.
You know, like, man, look at how good this guy is at making really delicious food out of leftovers, right? And so other people, other chefs, like look at that and go, that's really great. But, you know, for somebody that's not invested like in the industry, I know it's don't.
Sure. Well, I mean, on that point though, like, why is there no nod to Grant Morrison for doing that? I mean, Multiversity was full of leftovers, you know, and it was like brilliantly crafted. I mean, it's one of those things that takes for goddamn ever to read, but you still want to read it like more than once because, you know, it's one of those things that you pick up something new like every time you read it, you know, and we have this attempt at like a fourth dimensional comic, you know, where you can read it like forward or backward or start at any point within it and then read to whatever and the conclusion is the same, you know. So it's fucking great. And yeah, he's not on here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I think it's again just a nod to the continuity thing. I really think that is the piece to the puzzle that you and me just don't get. You know what I mean? Like, so I know neither of us find continuity that important.
I don't care.
If at all. I don't care at all about continuity. I almost like it when I pick up a new book or like if I'm reading, say, a title with a name and then I pick up the next one and it's by a new guy and it immediately is like, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. That's one of my favorite things.
Like the Elseworld shit where they just, you know, can do whatever they want and they don't have to tie it into whatever. Like, all the Elseworld shit ends up being, like, pretty good for that reason because you don't have to fucking pay attention to anything.
Right.
I mean, Batman can be a pirate. It doesn't matter.
Right. I just enjoy in general when writers don't give a fuck about that at all. Like, that's what I like. So I think that's what we miss with Valiant. Because a lot of the praise that I see for it talks about this interconnectivity, the large continuity that happens, and the events and crossovers. The events are good. You know, like people talk about how the events are good and the crossovers are good.
And on that note, I mean, you know, kudos to Jeff Lemire for pretty much like spearheading this whole thing because he's been like the backbone of that company pretty much.
He's been
like,
all over everything.
So much out on Valiant, like it's insane. Yeah. So, I mean, he's doing a good job at like, you know, what they want of him, but it's not. I mean, because when it first came out and we started reading it, we were thinking it was going to be like harkening back to like mature readers DC titles and like early Vertigo and stuff, and we were like super fucking pumped about it, you know, because it's like it may have this superhero exterior, but these are going to be like real fucking problems that these people are dealing with. And the longer it went on, the more we realized that wasn't really like the case at all. You know, it's more like the non-mature readers 80s DC titles. Yeah. Well,
it almost feels like the early 90s comic book boom where everything is an event. Everything is like a spectacle, right? So I can see the appeal, I suppose, for people maybe my age and a little bit older that grew up reading comics in the 90s, going back to that kind of thing where the spectacle and appeal is actually done with some nuance, Right, but I think it's just not for me. And I don't think it deserves a whole lot of critical acclaim. I don't understand the critical acclaim here. But then we're not talking about critics, are we? We're talking about the Harvey Awards, which is like other comic book writers' acclaim.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see actually the nominating committee for this, because I think you can pull it up for the Eisners, but I don't know about the Harveys.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. It's fucking weird that they have like this whole award for the Valiant universe now.
The Valiant Awards.
Yeah, the Valiant Awards.
With a few nods to Boom, Marvel, DC, and Image just to make it look legit. I don't know.
Not awkward.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it's rigged. I don't think it's conspiracy. It's just a weird nominating committee with weird preferences, right?
Sure.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that'll do it. I don't want to talk about every list of Valiant titles and which one is better because I don't care. Right?
Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, podcasts. Like, subscribe, comment.